It is strange. If it doesn't feel strange, you're not noticing how strange it is. If this feels normal, you're not noticing how weird it is. Because this is normal compared to what? There's nothing to compare it to. It's like, I mean, this weird thing. I mean, everyone has one. It's a body, it's normal. Could it be weirder than having a human body? I mean, good God, human bodies are just totally bizarre and inconceivable. And this functionality we have, this biology and our sociology and our reproduction and all these, it's all, you couldn't dream this up. It's just absolutely beyond science fiction. And yet we all think it's absolutely normal, it's like, and anything other than that would be really weird. But hey, this is really weird. This is really weird. If we were giant bugs, that would be weird. But it would be no weirder than this. When you're a frame of reference junkie, like most of us are, you think the koan has an answer. And you're moving from that frame of reference to, I get it. Oh, now I get it. This is it. Now it's like, I've got the new and improved version. But the power of koan is showing that the question is the point. The question mark is the point. The unknowing is the point. The indefinability is the point. And to see that in the factuality of that indefinability is finding the fact, the one fact, this, which is the one fact. And it's indefinable, it's unknown, but totally knowable. We know nothing else. And yet do we know it? Can we plumb its depths? Can we find its edges, its boundaries? It looks a lot more like a question mark than like an exclamation point. But it looks like an exclamation point too. Because in actual fact, at any instant, i.e. now, a vast portion of our experience is not oriented around the conditioning and is not oriented around the concepts. We're experiencing amazing, call them energies in our consciousness right now. The conditioning is being experienced, thoughts are being experienced, feelings are being experienced, but so much more than that is being experienced. We're experiencing energies, we're experiencing, there's no point in trying to delineate it or specify it, but if we draw our attention to these things and let them show us what they are, there's enormous power there, because they are profoundly true, profoundly naked, and profoundly raw. And the conditioning and the concepts are extremely ephemeral and insubstantial by comparison. And so we don't need to turn them off or fight them or struggle with them or diminish them. They'll automatically be diminished when we notice the amazing presence and power of what's showing up in and as our experience. Because in actual fact, and when we notice that, because we'll see the true proportion, which is that in actual fact, our thoughts, our beliefs, our conditioning, our emotional reactions are a relatively infinitesimal part of our experience. We experience this broad spectrum of, call it presence, call it, it doesn't matter what you call it. The point is to see it and notice that it is real. It is actual. It's actually happening. Whatever we think of it, whatever our conditioning provokes us to respond to it as being this or that, it's here. And it is what it is, and we can see what it is, and that seeing is very powerful. When you're working with frames of reference, the first step is to draw yourself loose from any one that you're stuck in. Don't worry, don't try to jump to the finish line necessarily and say that there's no frame of references. But just if you can draw yourself a little bit out of one, even into another, that's great, because you're illustrating for yourself the mobility of consciousness and the arbitrariness of these frames of reference. So once you get this mobility, then you can get more mobility, and you start having less of a tendency to be locked into one interpretation of events. And before you know it, it's all question marks, and it's like, well, I don't know what's going on here. I don't know. Pretty bizarre.
Yeah.
So why is a wonderful thing to contemplate if you do it right, and don't do it by spinning off into a lot of verbiage. If you do it by looking at, why this boils down to what this, which boils down to just
Yeah.
And that's not a ducking the question, because in actual fact, what this is inconceivably, profoundly pregnant with information, with knowledge, with intelligence, with implications that just totally transcend human conceptualization, and yet are totally accessible and totally naked as soon as you see it and let it talk to you in its language.
Right.
But it's a language of direct energy, so to speak, not a language of abstract conceptualization.
Yeah.
It's like when you see a sunset and it moves you, you're being moved by a language.
Yeah.
There's profundity there, there's meaning there, there's intelligence. And it's not a rational intelligence. You can say, well, that particular shade of pink is kind of nice juxtaposed against. I mean, you can say all that stuff, but that's not the point, right? That's not really the essence. The essence is, wow.
Right.
Wow, you're getting a download, right? And that download can be had any time from anything to an infinite, or certainly an indefinite degree. Because everything is equally weird. You are a sunset. This is a sunset. In terms of being an amazing moving energy phenomena. We just need to notice it. We need to stop dumbing it down and saying, oh, this is boring, we're just sitting in a room spewing a lot of concepts. And just notice, like, wow, this energy is present. And it's profound, and it's bizarre, and it's got implications, and it's got structure, and it's got values, and it's just, it's inconceivably beautiful, inconceivably ugly, inconceivably, just full of info. What is experiencing this experience is God. What is being experienced is God, and there's an immense profundity in that fact. God is experiencing itself in the same way we do when we dream at night. The dreaming consciousness generates this bizarre energy phenomena, which is nothing other than itself, because there's nothing objective there, and then experiences this bizarre energy phenomena, basically experiencing itself, because this is a meaningful thing for it to do. It's experiencing itself, and in the process, this whole fact is, this narcissistic event is meaningful, right? It has content, it has quality, it has, you can't say maybe verbally or analytically what it is, but there's something there. You could say there's a reason for it. There's a why there. There's some juice there, okay? And likewise, this is exactly the same. God, the experiencer, is experiencing this projected energy phenomena, God, and there's meaning there, there's juice. And that experiencing is the download, that juiciness, the meaningfulness of it. God is dreaming this.
Which direction is it download?
It's meaningful. It's meaningless to talk about directions because there isn't actually separation. There's no this and that. It's all one. It's doing everything.
Even lack of energy, it's playing that
It's doing lack of energy. It's doing the interpreting. It's doing the being locked in frames of reference. It does the shaking itself out of frames of reference. It's doing everything. It's a one-man show. It's a one-man band. I mean, God's the only one doing anything here. And all of our stupidity and our pathetic lives are the direct, unmediated handiwork of the divine. There's a bumper sticker there somewhere.
It's right.